What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of OU Insiders Field Vision with Coach Clinton. I'm your host, Bryan Clinton, and I'm extremely excited to bring you back another episode of this. They're still letting us do it. They haven't pulled the plug yet. Actually, we're adding a little bit to our plate every week. We're going to do 2 videos a week now and recap the recent game from Oklahoma, go over a couple of plays that may need to be addressed or some things that may be stuck out. And then we're still going to do our preview of Oklahoma's upcoming opponent and give you some plays to look at and some things that you may be seeing in the upcoming game. Tonight, we're going over 6 plays that we saw in Oklahoma's 50-20 win over Iowa State. And look, it was still a 30-point win, but as coaches do, you spend a lot of time looking at what didn't work last week so that you ensure it doesn't happen again. And so we're looking at a couple of things here, starting defensively, that we saw some issues with early on from Oklahoma's defense. Obviously, they got some things figured out after that, and it ended up being good for the Sooners, a good day for the Sooners defense. But the first play we're going to look at is a 51-yard touchdown for Iowa State's Jalen Knoll. This was simply, to me, it looks like a little bit of miscommunication and maybe even a little bit of Key Lawrence getting tunnel vision with the ball here. So we've got Trey up top, tight end, 2 wide receivers. You got single wide receiver to the bottom, and then you've got 5-man protection here with the running back breaking out into a short route. Oklahoma defensive line gets good pressure on this. It's 3rd and 18, obvious passing down. The problem is this looks like cover 2 from the television broadcast. It was kind of hard to tell, but you see Key Lawrence dropping back and covering a deep middle, it looks like, or perhaps the right side of the field. And then obviously down at the bottom, I believe, is Gentry Williams, who seems to bail as soon as the ball is snapped. So that says cover 2 to me. You've also got 3 guys playing zone underneath. Billy Bowman seems to key on Knoll off the snap, and this is his guy. The problem is Lawrence is supposed to be your help there, and he pulls up on the play. Now, I don't think it's because he's avoiding contact, because that's not what we see from Lawrence. I think it is simply the fact that I don't think he saw. I think he assumed that this was an overthrown ball, and he didn't see Knoll in his peripheral vision. So obviously, you've got to be better with your eyes in that situation, because you can see him going out for the catch here, and it just doesn't happen. And obviously, Knoll breaks free. Lawrence is supposed to be there for the last ditch effort, and he wasn't. So Knoll strides into the end zone, and it's a big play for Iowa State. Again, just have to be better with your eyes. That's the big thing here. It wasn't a busted coverage. It wasn't where we had a couple of guys miscommunicating about what needed to happen. I think it was more a matter of Lawrence just needing to have better leverage and have his eyes in a better position, knowing where the ball is going and what's going on there. So something that's easily coachable, easily fixed, and I don't think that you're going to see that continue to be an issue moving forward. So with that, we will go to the second play, which is Higgins' long touchdown, Jaden Higgins' long touchdown. And this one was even more of a, if you will call it, a fluke play. This is one of those things that you just don't see happen very often. So we've got 5 guys showing pressure on the line of scrimmage. Both of your end guys break off and cover the hook curl area of the field, whereas you've got man outside of that, and then Billy Bowman is playing safety here in the middle of the field. He breaks on. He sees what the quarterback's doing. He's keying on the quarterback. He breaks when the quarterback throws to your X receiver here on a slant, and this is just the worst combination of things that could have happened. He not only does Rocco Becht somehow fit this ball in over Marcus Stripling's head, just barely misses his hands. Not only does that happen, but Billy Bowman and Gentry Williams collide on the play. And so there's nobody left in the middle of the field. Billy Bowman's your safety there. And now all there is green grass. And that's just it's an easy touchdown. It's a huge mistake. Or a huge it's a huge problem, I guess is the best way of putting it. With how things broke out in this play, because Billy Bowman is your guy there, and when he runs into the corner who's playing man, obviously that's not what you want. So we've got two easy plays that need to be cleaned up, but obviously two things that aren't guys not knowing what the play is, guys not knowing what's going on. It's a simple case of sometimes it pays to be lucky, and Rocco Becht got lucky on that play with three guys in coverage on that route. It was just it was one of those fluke plays that happens every once in a while, and it ended up being a really big play for the Cyclones. So defensively, I'm not really worried about what I saw. Obviously, Oklahoma did a really good job. From there on out, they allowed 2 field goals after this point, and one field goal after this point, and it was lockdown defense for the Sooners after that. So I think things are going to be just fine for them moving forward. This is not something that really causes any concern for me. Next, what we're going to look at is there are some concepts or some things that you may hear. You guys, I'm sure, listen to all kinds of podcasts because Sooner fans are, they just this is a team that brings a lot of information out and brings a lot of fans to a lot of different places to pick up their information. And I just wanted to give you a couple of things to look at so that you would know what's going on, what Oklahoma's trying to do, and when you hear some terminology, you'll know kind of what is being said and what's being talked about. So the first concept we're going to look at, it's called split zone. So as I explained in a previous video, when you see zone from the offensive line, it's going to be all of your offensive linemen moving in symmetry, one direction or the other, play side, weak side. I mean, whatever direction they're moving. That's the concept is called zone when they're all moving in symmetry. So the point of this is to create a wall, essentially, which is really breaking it down to its core element. You're trying to create a wall to give the running back protection so he can pick up yards, obviously. Split zone is when you have a tight end who you see Austin Stogner here. He is going to actually go opposite direction of the play, and he is going to crack the end guy on the line of scrimmage here. So your backside threat he is eliminating. And what this does is if your back doesn't have the space outside that he needs, this just gives him this is a cutback lane that he can use. And it's obviously sometimes if you have guys over pursue and play this too aggressively, it can cause you can have huge holes to run through. And this play is a case of that where he's got just enough space to create off of that play, and Major turns it into 18 yards. Really big play, and it looked really, really good for the Sooners early on. This was a play that they ran early and often. Lots of split zone in this game. But unfortunately for Oklahoma, Iowa State did a really good job adjusting to this, because later in the game, it simply wasn't as effective as it was to begin with. Okay, on the second split zone play, we've got 13:51 in the third quarter. It's 1st and 10. And this is an example of how Iowa State adjusted to the play. So if you'll look here, the end man on the line of scrimmage on the strong side, which is he's lined up over Walter Rouse and Austin Stogner. And what you're going to see happen here is he seems to allow himself to be reached by Everett, the guard. And what it allows him to do is he works directly upfield, and he cuts this play off, almost immediately. And so Marcus Major has to work around him. And by time he does that, the Iowa State defense has been able to adjust. Your safety comes down to help on the play, cuts it off, and it's tackle for a half-yard loss to no gain. So when they adjust like this, Oklahoma obviously had a hard time making things work from that point on. So split zone is still going to be something Oklahoma tries and do, and obviously teams are going to play it differently. But this was just an example of what happened late in the game for Oklahoma to lose some success with that play. The second concept that we're going to look at is, I know this is something that you guys have heard said before. When you hear the term pin pull, a lot of guys are going to, guys that have been around the sport for a long time. When you hear pin pull, it's essentially the same thing as buck sweep. It's not the same thing entirely, because with buck sweep you have the threat of an inside run as well, whereas pin pull is designed to be strictly an outside running play. Now, what Oklahoma does with the pin pull concept is they like to run some RPO stuff off of it. So this first example, you're going to see Austin Stogner, the in man on the line of scrimmage up on the top. And when you have a pin pull concept, your tight end is blocking down on the end man on the line of scrimmage. So he's setting the edge for the offensive line. And you're going to see Everett here pull around, and he's taking on this linebacker who is coming down, crashing on the play. And so this gives Dylan Gabriel a pretty easy read. And what you're doing is the linebacker that's coming down to crash on the play, what he has done is he's opened up a lot of space for Drake Stoops to work. And so that slant is what Gabriel sees pre-snap that's going to be open. And unfortunately, the ball gets tipped, and you end up having a play for nothing. Whereas if maybe this ball gets out a little bit quicker, or Stoops breaks a little sooner, or even Andrell Anthony up at the top, if he's able to get in here and give some more space, it works that way. Unfortunately, this was something that just developed too slow, and Iowa State's defensive line was able to create pressure and get this play off track. The second example of pin pull that we're going to use is one that is the run play. It actually shows them running the ball here, and so this is about 6 minutes into the third quarter, and we see a more classic look of pin pull. You've got two guys pulling around, and Austin Stogner blocking here on the in man of the line of scrimmage. Now, with pin pull, another really good thing about this concept is that it makes it's really easy to read on who's going to do the pulling. It could change based on the front that you get from the defensive line, and it's hard to tell from this diagonal look. It would be much better, obviously, if you could see head on where these guys were actually lined up. But what you get in this play is Walter Rouse and Andrew Rame pulling around, and then obviously Austin Stogner blocking down here. Problem is, Stogner doesn't do a great job of sealing this guy off, and he actually allows this guy to have some penetration, keeps his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, and what it does is it knocks Rame totally off track here, who's trying to get up and help make this play develop. And essentially, instead of this play potentially busting for a big gain, it's pretty much swallowed up for little to nothing. I believe this was a 2-yard gain. And so, unfortunately, the issue that you're having here is I don't believe that Stogner, in this position at least, or in this play, he doesn't get it done, and what it does is it throws the entire play off track. So, he's got to be better about getting his pads lower in this example. And look, this isn't his strength. Austin Stogner's strength is being a big target over the middle of the field, and helping Oklahoma in the passing game. He's a capable blocker, but it is not his strength, and so remembering that is going to be key. And hopefully, as this offense progresses and gets better each and every week, they're using him in more passing situations than they are in a concept like this. So that's pretty much all I had for you guys tonight. We are just trying to help everybody learn a little bit more about the game, help you learn a little bit more about what's going on with the Sooners, why some things are working, why some aren't. And just make sure, if you like this kind of content, just continue to let us know. We are really excited to bring you all kinds of stuff on the Sooners and over on OU Insider. This is a big week. OU Texas is coming up. There's lots of stuff going on over there. So make sure you're going and checking out what Brandon and Parker and Jesse and myself have up on the site for you guys. We're going to have all kinds of content this week coming into the game. And so make sure you're going over there and checking all of that out. But for that, this is the last word here for us tonight. Thank you guys again for checking us out, and we will see you later on this week for the Texas film breakdown and preview.